Make-A-Wish employees, what was the most strangest thing a Make-A-Wish kid asked for and actually received? I shot an internal promotional video for Make-A-Wish once. I got to read through a big book of wishes they had granted. Some of them were so extravagant and amazing. Family vacations, celebrity meetings, and then I saw a 3-year-old who wished for a banana split for breakfast, and that's what they gave him. No one was like, "Ayo, wish higher." And then I saw a 3-year-old who wished for a banana split for breakfast, and that's what they gave him. No one was like, "Ayo, wish higher." You'd think they would be. Like if I was the person taking their wish and seeing what we could do, I have to imagine my response would be, "Man, I'll just do that for you on my own." Think bigger. I helped host a visit to a planetarium by a kid whose wish was to go to the moon. The front office folks thought I could just give her a personal tour of the planetarium and show her some nice high-resolution visuals. But I thought she deserved better than that. I commissioned a jewel, a friend and meteorite enthusiast, to make a silver crescent moon necklace, which he graciously donated to the cause. And I donated a small lunar meteorite from my own collection. It was a gorgeous necklace, very much to the credit of my friend's artistry and generosity. We couldn't take her to the moon, so we gave it to her instead. She was thrilled, but later said her real highlight of the trip was the astronaut ice cream. Ah. Kids, edit, thanks for the awards. Kind Redditors. My daughter was a Make-A-Wish kid. She asked to go to Australia to meet the Wiggles. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to travel that far. We live in the US health-wise. She made a second wish, to meet Captain America. We never told Cap that he was a backup wish after the Wiggles were a no-go. LOL. When my sister was 5 and I was 8, she had cancer and had the opportunity to make a wish. When our mom and the Make-A-Wish person sat down with her, they told her she could wish for whatever she wanted. She just kept saying she wanted macaroni. They kept saying, "But it can be anything you want." Yet she simply wanted macaroni and cheese. After some strong encouragement to think bigger, and the Make-A-Wish person suggesting Disneyland, she chose to go to Disneyland. Should have given her the macaroni and cheese, and then asked her what she wanted next. My friend. I'm 14 and my good buddy had all leukemia. He asked for a ride in a fighter jet and he somehow got it. I was surprised because the doctors would say how his bones were getting fragile and weaker, and I guess either the G-force of the jet would hurt him, but he was fine and had a blast. He's doing better now and is scheduled out in about 3 months. I was granted a wish after beating brain cancer in 2015. They flew my mum and I out to the capital city of our state and we stayed in the flashest, most expensive hotel suite with all the bells and whistles. We got free dinner, drinks and dessert on arrival. Got to chill in the VIP lounge while we were waiting for our room. Our room was decorated with teddy bears and chocolates and more decorations. The next day we were chauffeured to the local mall in a limo, and I went on an 11-hour shopping spree with a preloaded Visa card and bought every solitary thing you would imagine a 16-year-old girl wanting. I ended up having to buy another suitcase to take everything home with me, but it was the most epic 3 days of my life. I'll never forget it. 1 to be a merman, a boy mermaid. He got a tail and swam in the giant tank with other mermaids at the aquarium. 2 to play football with the red team, no pro or college preference, just had to be red. USC made it happen. Link. 3 to be a cool kid, got a limo ride to the mall. Red carpet entrance with cheering fans. Signed autographs. Shopping spree for clothes. 5 years old, so cute and very cool. Link. 4 to be Robin, not Batman. He said he wasn't ready for that. Went on an epic adventure fighting crime with Batman. Link. A friend of mine is a K9 police officer. He helped Make-A-Wish grant a wish to a set of twins with the deadliest form of cystic fibrosis. Most of the time kids with CF aren't allowed to be around others with it because of cross-infecting bacteria. Them being twins shortens their life expectancy even more. Well, these 10-year-old boys wanted to meet a police dog. My friend and some of his buddies upped the wish, and during their meeting of his dog they got called to help solve 3 crimes in their town. They pulled over a hijacker, found and arrested a robber, and helped find a missing 6-year-old my friend's nephew. The town police department gave them certificates and honorary police badges for their work. Around 200 people showed up to where they got their awards to cheer them on. At their 11th birthday they gave my friend a plaque they made with their dad thanking him for the best day ever. I was a chef at a fancy steakhouse in Jacksonville, Florida. One day my proprietor came to me and said, "This is to see the new girl, she'll be training with you." I look over and it's this adorable little girl in bright pink chef coat. I babysat my little cousins at the time, so I was actually pretty used to entertaining 10-year-old girls at the time. So I showed her the ropes. We made all kinds of stuff that were on the surface kind of random. Candied bacon, cornbread, prosciutto wrapped balls and cheese stuffed asparagus, a sweet tea brined pork chop, a sorrel garnish salad type thing and some other cool garnishes. We were having fun. I then made a puree out of the cornbread, let her plate up the dish a few different ways to show how you can play with ingredients and height to showcase different parts of the dish. She had a blast. It was only at the end, when the father came up to me, in tears, that I realized what was going on. In the moment I was a little upset, because nobody told me, but I realized, after it was for the best. I probably would not have been as bright and vibrant with the lessons, had I have known. But it was a fulfilling experience for sure. I hope their family is doing well. Side note, I have worked and ran the dishes a special a few times in memory of that day. It was that impactful. I worked at a hospice and we had a wishing program. One of our patients, 24-year-old with brain cancer, wanted to hold a sloth. Apparently, sloths are very nervous creatures, so it's a little tricky to actually hold one. I found a local company that does visits to schools and whatnot who had a sloth. Sloths only poop about once a week and the sloth could only travel the day after he pooped because they get nervous. Any longer than that and the sloth has stress diarrhea. So basically, we had to wait until the sloth pooped and then set up the visit for the next day. The sloth pooped on Thanksgiving, so we set up the visit for the next morning. The patient was able to hold and pet a very sweet sloth. The patient died about 3 weeks later, and I'm very happy I was able to help give her some joy in her final weeks. Edit. Wow. Guys, I did not expect this to blow up. Thank you so much for the awards. The hospice I worked at had a special program called Faithful Wishes for any of our patients, regardless of age. As the volunteer coordinator, fulfilling these wishes was part of my job. I do believe there are other non-profit organizations that grant wishes to adults, but nothing as large as Make-A-Wish. Yes, the sloth was tame and lived in an animal preserve. He would also visit schools and retirement communities, schedule permitting. And yes, I absolutely learned more about sloth bowel movements than I ever wanted to. I worked at a Lego retail store in the 2000s, and Make-A-Wish approached us for a child with terminal osteosarcoma who wanted to be in the store for a day. Lego unfortunately denied the request, which surprised myself and the rest of the staff, because Lego was a pretty great company. Staff decided to honor the request ourselves. We closed the store early on a Sunday, then invited the kid and family in. He had a full run of the store. We collectively paid for like 1,000 worth of toys for him to take home, and just spent the entire evening building with he wanted. He died a few months later. You and the rest of that staff are amazing. Not Make-A-Wish, but my brother got terminal brain cancer when he was 18. He was given 3 to 6 months to live. Back then his only wish was to be an NFL player, but he was 5'8", all heart. He was just like Rudy in that Notre Dame football movie. He fought it for 6 years. Somewhere around his 22nd birthday he and I were talking about having something worth living for. I told him it didn't matter what it was, but a vision for the future that he would fight for was important, and encouraged him to find something to give his life to. We went on a vacation soon after that, and because we were broke from medical bills and 4 years of battling cancer as a family, this was a huge deal. We hadn't had a family vacation for a long time. A family friend put us up in their beach house and gave us some money to have a good time there. My brother came alive on the trip. It was so impactful to him that he came home and decided to start a non-profit organization. He called it A Week Away. It was very similar to Make-A-Wish terminally sick patient supply and benefit from an all expenses paid vacation with their family or group of caregivers. That was a big deal to him to include the family because if you've ever gone through something like that, you know it's not just the patient who suffers and loses their freedom. It's everyone they are close to. He worked his ass off to start the organization. He formed it and began sending families to places like the Outer Banks and Ocean City and other East Coast beaches. A week before he died, he launched his first big month-long fundraiser. He passed away knowing that he had raised enough to send like 10 families on respite weeks. It was like he was passing the baton off to others who could keep on fighting. The org is still going strong today. If anyone is blessed to have their health and a sweet vacation spot you'd like to donate for occasional use by sick people all coordinated by an awesome organization, I'd encourage you to reach out to the A Week Away folks. You get to play a part in people's lives like the awesome people helping in these Make-A-Wish stories. There was that kid who wanted to work with a team designated Link. He spent a day working with them on their next release book and helping design a monster. Ended up suggesting a monster that was designed into one of the coolest monsters in the book. There was a Make-A-Wish kid in a class I taught once, and their wish was to tour a pickle factory. Pickles were their all-time favorite food and they wanted to see how the sausage was made, so to speak. Apparently Vlasic rose to the occasion in a major way, and she had the time of her life. I swear my youngest would make a wish like this. He got Benadryl in hospital once at 1 AM, and they told me it would probably make him pass right out. Well, in children it sometimes does the opposite. He was wired. So here's this 3-year-old who can't sleep in the middle of the night, demanding, "Mom, I want a pickle party." I'm an old ass lady and Benadryl still does this to me. I haven't wanted a pickle party yet. Well, not that kind at least. I was approached by a similar organization who wanted to arrange a day for a kid to shadow a veterinarian. I'm just a small animal veterinarian with a small hospital, so I found it odd that I'd be approached. I said yes, who TF would say no, and we picked a day and had our regular patients in the hospital and the kid got to watch us do our thing for a day. We gave him a lab coat and a stethoscope and let him tag along and see x-rays and ultrasounds and watch surgeries. I brought my dog in so he could try the ultrasound on her. He seemed to enjoy it. It wasn't a terribly strange request really. It just seems like my day to day isn't something anyone would consider their dream experience. In Wizard 101 there's a quest with an NPC named Brandon, named after a Make-A-Wish kid who played the game. And his request was to design a side quest for the game. You meet Brandon and go help him clear out this dungeon with 2 really ducking hard bosses. Was a lot of fun. At the end you get a gem you can socket that lets you summon Brandon into battle as a follower. Pretty cool. Not sure what ended up happening to Brandon, but it's really cool that thousands of people have gotten to enjoy being a part of his wish. To be honest, he's not the only Make-A-Wish kid in the game either. I know one of them passed away, but he was in the Dino world, so I don't think that's Brandon. After a quick Google I mostly stopped before the first arc was even over, so details are a bit hazy, and the family issued a statement saying how grateful they were that he'd always be able to visit him in game. My cousin was a Make-A-Wish kid. He loved golf, like had a scholarship to go play college. He loved it so much, he got to meet and play a round of golf with Payne Stewart. Unfortunately, he died not too long after that. Duck cancer. Eater Stewart Painter Payne Stewart. I know someone who was granted a wish. Of all things they could choose, they asked for 2 tiny birds. 2 budgies. I had a co-worker at my student job in college who had leukemia as a child. He wished to be in the Iditarod, so they flew his family to Alaska, and he got to meet all the dogs and ride in a sled for a leg of the race. If I remember correctly, he also got a husky puppy. He was 20 when I met him. I was a couple of years older and graduated college and never saw him again. The leukemia came back and he died in 2016. I don't think he was much older than 25. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. I hope heaven is real just for you, Ben. After I survived cancer at 17, I was offered a wish. I went to Christmas Island with my family to see the spawning of the red crabs, reckoned to be one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. Picture it. A million fist-sized red land crabs making their way down to the sea edge to release their eggs into the ocean over a period of just 3 hours or so. The Make-A-Wish volunteers looked horrified as I explained it, and I'm typing this now. So yes, I live thanks. Edit, come to think of it, I'm pretty sure my wish caught my family a bit off guard too. I went to high school with someone whose youngest brother had some rare terminal disease and he was at the end of it. This kid was 10 and the thing he's wanted to do since he was 5 was to be a train conductor and take trains all around the world. With the help of Make-A-Wish and others, he was able to go and be a conductor for 6 of his last 8 months of life, and he traveled all over the US. He seemed like he had so much fun. I'm a wish granter. My strangest personal wish was a refurbished status camper so that she could have her own space. She couldn't go out in public while her transplant was newish, and she was going crazy in the house with 2 younger siblings. It was actually pretty cool. Although the strange part was that more can't actually use things like that. So we had to get her a new VW camper or something like that. It's been a while and artfully make it look vintage. So strange. Anyways, please feel free to apply to be a Make-A-Wish volunteer. It's such a rewarding experience. And even if you don't feel like you can work with the kids, there's also other volunteer positions like fundraising, event planning, and more. When I was on a carrier, they flew a kid and his parents out. They routinely fly distinguished visitors, but we thought it was weird there was this kid. They got tours and watched flight ops, but he couldn't fly with us, so they asked us to have dinner with him so he could at least meet pilots and ask questions. It was really humbling when we realized this is what he was there for. He literally wished to just come see what we do and hang it with us.